afternoon, everyone. For me, it's afternoon. For many, it's getting into the evening a little bit on the East Coast. We're talking about staying focused in any circumstances. And really, when we talk about staying focused, what does that really mean? For me, it means continuing to be focused on your goal. What happens for people when we're moving towards our goal? We talk about the bullet train action and moving towards our goals. What happens to derail us? What happens to cause us to either take a right or take a left, forgetting about what our goal is? Usually, what I've found is there's a vision and a mission along with every goal we have. And so what happens a lot of times is our head starts to cause us all kinds of distractions with all of the noise in it about what's happening, what's going on, who we're working with, what's going on in the news, and all of this noise is coming at us. And it causes us to get off track. It causes us to become derailed. It causes us to be focused on other things than our goals. And even today, I had a meeting that ran just a little bit over, and my focus, my goal was to be on this call right away, and I was a few minutes late. I don't like that for myself. But the thing is the world around us creates pressures that cause us to lose focus, that cause us to be distracted, that cause us to have all kinds of different things step in the way of our progress. And so one of the first things that I start working with people around is really looking at our vision. And then what comes from our vision is our mission. And how do we stay on mission and how we stay towards our vision in whatever we're doing? When we have a strong vision and a strong mission, it's much easier to get back on track and get back focused on our goals in any circumstances. And so, funny enough, when I realized I was running a little bit late, I was able to end that meeting very, very kindly and easily and say, look, I have a prior commitment. I got to go. And I jumped right in here as soon as I can. We all have these disruptions. We all have the distractions. We all have those things that get in the way of our goals, even if we have a strong mission and even if we have a real vision of where we're going. The problem is that when we start listening to ourselves about needing to focus on the distractions because they're important, we lose the ability to prioritize. Now, I've talked about prioritizing. I've talked about key performance indicators. I've talked about all of the different pieces of business as we're moving towards our goals, which for my business is increased revenue, which is increased profit, because profitability is what businesses are all about. If a business isn't profitable, then it's not really doing good business. We all have goals. We all miss the mark sometimes. We always want to have a profitable, moving forward business going in the direction we want to, and things get in the way. Things fall on our track on the way. Things derail us. We have these problems, whether it's sickness. Well, right now, we're all in the middle of it for like the last year and a half. Is the COVID thing has really derailed a lot of businesses. It's really caused a lot of people to even stop working and take money from the government, or because it's a better deal, or they've just not sure how to move forward with the business they have. Restaurants have been decimated with how to move forward. But when you have a strong vision and you have a strong mission, that helps to be able to get back on track. I know a number of restaurants that didn't have a strong vision, a strong mission, and they disappeared, while others added different offerings. They started doing DoorDash, they started doing delivery, they started doing curbside service, and they were able to go, our mission is big enough and our vision is big enough that we can continue to do business and they flourished, even though a lot of other businesses just like it failed. I have a friend who owns a food cart. And when COVID happened, he had just opened up. He was opened up for about 9 months, and he was just starting to get moving in the direction he wanted to. And California was where he was at, and he was like threatened that it was going to shut down. And as he started to think about what he could do, we talked about it. And what he started doing is he actually started going to different neighborhoods in the shutdown and delivering food to people. And he actually started to flourish, and his business increased as a result of his ability to move with the times. His goal was altered a little bit, but his mission and vision really helped him to alter the goal in a forward motion way. And so now his business is flourishing. He's just talking to me about expanding now. And that's because he didn't allow the derailment of the COVID situation to shut his business down like some did. And so it's really about looking at your vision. It's about looking at your mission. It's about understanding that no matter what happens, there's always a step forward. One of the things that I've talked about with Bruce, and I've talked about with Morrow and the other coaches, that we all kind of know each other. And one of the big things that we talk about a lot is, what are we doing next? How are we moving forward next? What do we want to see from this community? What do we want to see from ourselves in our own business? And it's a lot of visioning. It's a lot of understanding where we want to go as a community. In the Give to Get community, we want to think about what we want to do, how we want to be of service, how we want to be presented. And so when we look at that, we think about what our goals are from all of those ideas. And so as we're talking about staying consistent and staying focused, moving towards our goal, the number one question that I always ask myself is, how is this moving me towards my goal? The thing I ask my clients when I'm working with them, we work on mission, we work on vision, we work on what their goals are for 5 years, 3 years, 1 year. And then we break it down into the quarterly goals, weekly goals. We really focus on those goals because that's our benchmarks. That's our, ideas of where we're going. On a freeway, you look at it like mile markers. And we want to think about, are we moving towards our mile marker or not? Are we hitting that next step?
On a scale of 1 to 5, would you give yourself a 5 on achieving what you want in life? If your answer is anything less than a 5, right now, I have something awesome for you. Achieving your goals and living your life at a 5 isn't easy. Most people aren't prepared to focus, stay disciplined, and do the everyday work that is necessary to achieve amazing results. But since you're watching this, then I'm guessing that you're not one of those people. And this is an opportunity that will change your life. Give to Get is a global program that brings together world-class coaching and combines it with empowering masterminds and networking opportunities. We provide 5-star guidance for the price of a cup of coffee a day. To find out more, click on the link in the description of this coaching session.
And so we can always ask, what's your goal? Are you moving that way? If you find yourself off track, am I moving myself towards my goal, or am I off track? And a lot of times, I don't know if anybody here is ever experienced this, but I think I'm moving towards my goal. And Christine, my partner, comes in and goes, "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm doing this thing here. I'm taking action here, and it's moving me." And she goes, "How? How is that actually moving us towards this or that?" And then when I actually have that outside person, which, by the way, that's one really, really good thing a coach is for, is to ask you those questions to help you to really see that, oh, shoot, I convinced myself this was actually going to move me forward. It's not moving me anywhere. It's moving me down a rabbit hole, like 10 feet, 20 feet deep into a rabbit hole that I can't get out of myself. Now I need help to get out. I thought I was moving forward, but I haven't done anything for 2 months. That would be terrible. And so how do we start moving ourselves forward? Number one, we want to have that outside voice. We want to have that outside perspective. For me, I have a partner that does it. But the fact of the matter is believe it or not, I can pull her into rabbit holes too. And she can pull me into rabbit holes. So we have outside perspectives that are teammates, outside perspectives that are coaches, outside perspectives that are clients even. And we talk to and have that communication about where we're going, what we're looking like, what we're doing. And it's really about having that communication of vision, having that communication of mission, having that communication of what the goals are, and everybody understanding what the goals are, and then a free forum to say, are you moving towards your goal or are you moving away from your goal? What is that action you're taking going to help you do? How is it going to work for you? When is it supposed to work for you? With whom is it supposed to work? And when we start asking those questions, it starts to really help us develop a very visual map in our minds about where we're going and how that looks. And so the idea of really staying focused in any circumstances is all about communication to me. It's about being able to talk to the different people. I was off focus today. I got a text from Morrow. He's like, hey, are you okay? And I was like, evidently I'm not. I'm off focus. And then I jumped in and then we started moving forward again. Now I'm moving on the bullet train towards the end of my goal for today, which is to give a little presentation on how to be focused in any situation. And the reality is situations where we make mistakes, situations where we get flustered, those are real pain points for some people, especially if they don't have a way to get themselves emotionally balanced and get back into what's next. For me, there's this term, what if? I don't know if anybody's have you ever heard what if? Okay, so for me, I talk about the dreaded what ifs. Oh, what if Morrow's mad at me? Oh, what if Bruce is done with me? Oh, what if I just ruined everything? We can go there very easily and create catastrophic problems in our mind in about half a second. And I think that happens for a lot of people in business, especially entrepreneurs that don't have a good team and they don't have a good group of people to rely on and to connect with. We have this kind of idea that we need to do this all alone because we're entrepreneurs. And then we start listening to our own feedback loop and we start taking our own bad advice and we start trying to figure out how to move forward. And then we start listening to ourselves. And then we end up in rabbit holes like I was talking before, or we end up diverting our track and we're off track. We're moving in the wrong direction, or even worse, the emotional roller coaster takes hold and we're going up and down all around, all of these emotions pulling us in all kinds of different directions. And we forgot our goals. We forgot that one simple goal that we're doing today. Maybe it's making a phone call. Maybe it's making a deal. Maybe it's just emailing somebody back that you got their message. Maybe it's taking a day off. Who knows what it might be? But the idea is when we lose our goals, when we lose that mission and vision, it's because we got on the emotional roller coaster and we started letting our emotions run the show, and we're not identifying them. We're not connected to ourselves. We're connected to the noise in the world, and it's taken us off track. And so how do we get back? How do we get back into that focus? For me, it starts with identifying the emotions that got triggered. I talk a lot about this. I have a book. It's called Quit Taking Your Own Bad Advice: How to Stop Overthinking and Start Following the Brilliance of Others. In that book, I talk about the simple fact that our head, our ego, our protector tells us all kinds of stories. That's the number one thing that takes us off track. And the number one way to quiet that storm, to quiet that ego, is to identify when you feel embarrassed, when you feel hurt, when you feel discouraged, when you feel powerless. There's a number of emotions that we feel, and we don't really pay attention to them because they're unconscious. And so because our emotions are unconscious, we go to what I need to do, who I need to talk to, what I need to fix, how I need to take action. And that's great. But if we don't calm the storm, we're still on the emotional roller coaster, no matter what we're doing, and reactive in all of what we do. And so the number one way that I teach people how to stay focused in any circumstances is to take a minute. Take a minute. Identify the emotions that got triggered. Step back and think in an internal way, in an introspective way. How am I embarrassed? How am I hurt? How am I feeling inferior? How am I feeling pressured? Because when we can admit that, we can let it go. And then we can actually get back to what we were doing, feeling more revitalized, more connected to ourselves, because we took that check-in time. And we can start really identifying what that next step is. For me, this call is it's so funny that I did this today, because I was for the people who just joined or joined just a little bit after I did. I was supposed to be on here at 2, and I had a call run late, and for some reason, not on my calendar, I totally spaced. I'm actually in between East and West Coast, so I'm thinking 5 o'clock when it's actually 2 o'clock, and I blew it, totally blew it, me. So how do I get back? As I'm sitting there going, oops, sorry, I'm going, how do I feel embarrassed? Well, I'm late. How am I feeling hurt? Well, I set myself up by not checking my calendar this morning the way I should have. How am I feeling inferior? Well, I did it. How am I feeling pressured? I got to get on there. I can't let these guys down. And so when I noticed that, and it only takes a minute, I've been doing this for a while, when it only takes a little bit of time to do, how am I feeling powerless? I'm feeling powerless because I don't know what email I had it in. A little disorganization. So when I can really just identify those emotions, it's like, I know exactly where it is. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly how to move forward. And it really takes very little time to get back on track when we have the tools and we have the strategy to start moving forward. There was no reactivity for me other than, oops, that's exactly what I said tomorrow. I was like, oops. And then I jumped in. Then I come and I talk about, what do I talk about? I talk about my mistake and how it's so poignant, because I'm talking about remaining focused in any circumstances. And I was off focus. Are we ever in a time that we're always 100%? No, perfect doesn't exist. So what can we do? We can get back on track. I have a mentor years and years ago. He talked about how he used to fly planes. And when he was flying planes, he actually had exactly moving immediately to the solution. He was talking about how we're always off track. And when he was flying planes, they had audio radar. And he talked about how if they heard the beep, they're in trouble. The radar's broken, because that long noise is not possible in a plane because the air up there pushes the plane back and forth. And so they knew with the audio radar sound that if they flew to the right, it was a dot dash, dot dash, dot dash sound. And when they flew to the left, it was dash, 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 dash. And so they always knew how to correct back to a straight line. And so he's like, if you got a straight line, your radar's broken. By the way, if we got a straight line in life, we're dead. And so the funny thing is that applies in so many different situations. We're always going to be off to the left a little bit. We're always going to be off to the right a little bit. We're always going to be moving back and forth. But as long as we're looking at where we're going and we're listening to the information around and really focusing on that goal of the straight line, we can always see where we're off track and move back. Always see when we're off track the other way and move back. It's always moving back to center, always moving back to balance in an intentional way towards our goals. And for me, one of the things that I think about more than anything is goes back to the vision. The vision is way down there. This is what we see. Our mission is how we want to go about doing it. And our goals are our little steps along the way. And then we don't really even have to worry about our mission or our vision when we're really connected to our goal and aware of it. We can identify what's next and what's next. We can identify when we get off track. Too many people make too big of goals where they're not really able to check in all the time. And so making the smaller goals with the vision in mind, making the smaller goals along mission, help us to really identify how to stay on track and how to remain a high performer all the time. I work with about 30 or 40 companies right now. And the funny thing is I don't really notice how difficult it is, because everyone I work with, I get really strong on their vision. They're strong on their mission, strong on their goals. So I can pick up the next thing that is their next file, and look at, okay, where are they at? What are their goals? We can check in with where they're at. They're in charge of their goals. They're in charge of what's happening. And I can say, okay, how are we doing since the last time we talked? What is it? And I have a stack of these different files for each person. They're on my computer, but I mean, so I really look in, where are we at? What did we do last time? How have we moved the needle towards your vision and mission? How are you doing today? And I teach them how to really examine their goals for the day, examine their goals for the week, examine their goals for the month, and really stay on track. How to identify what we did good today, how to identify what we have to do tomorrow. Inventories. A business with product has a lot of inventory. And so what we talk about is some of the inventory that you want to look at is what your goals were. I see it as an inventory product. Have you hit your goals today? If not, they go on tomorrow. And so really checking in at the end of the night, before you go to bed or before you leave work, have you accomplished what you were wanting to? Then it goes on the next day. If it did, celebrate it. Not enough celebration going on. We got to celebrate those things we do hit, because it helps us to get excited about doing it again. And so really identifying what's working, what's not working, and what we need to do the next day, or what we want to do to move forward towards our goal. And so when we really looking at the goals, we start to move forward, and that's how we stay really focused on moving forward, how we stay that high performer, really identifying what's working and what's not working. But it's really about being supportive of other people so that they're supportive of you. And so for me, I don't think I do anything without a team. I used to have a psychology practice where I was the only one in the office, and I was the only one that I was working with all day long. I'd have clients come in, I'd help them with whatever they were going through, and then they'd go, I'd do a little note and then move on. And two things came out of that. One, I was bored, silly, almost every day, because it was the same old, and I didn't have that sharpening of the edge, so to speak, or sharpening of the sword by talking to colleagues and connecting with other people. It was just me being a provider constantly. And it was really draining. And one of the things that Christine and I talked about before I actually shifted into coaching and consulting was I really miss having that supervisory capacity, having that team, having that group of supervisors, supervisees that I had when I was in an institution working. I wasn't in the institution, I was working in it, I promise. But the idea of having that collegial relationship was really important to me, and I was missing that. And so for myself, I vowed back years ago when I changed into consulting that I was always going to make sure I had a team of people around me that could actually connect with me and help me see me in a different way and help me keep on track, keep me moving forward towards those goals. And we talk about our goals all the time. We talk about where we're going, what we want to do. We've got monetary goals. We've got lifestyle goals. We've got growth goals. We have fun goals. We have all kinds of goals. We also have networking goals. We have relationship goals. We create goals in everything that we do because we found that we start to really intentionally have the life that we desire when we create goals around it. Now, even when I was a psychologist, practicing in my little private practice, I didn't think about the goals the way I do these days. And I thought, yeah, it's good to have goals. It's good to have goals. But all of the goals that most of the people I had were to get out of pain or to get unsick. And it's like, first of all, I don't necessarily believe in mental health the way that mental health propagates it. This is just my own belief. Now, anybody can have their belief. But for me, I don't believe the way it was propagated is necessarily accurate. Because one thing that I saw from all of the clients I had, and I had a ton of clients throughout my years of being a psychologist, every person that came in was okay. They just didn't know it. They were okay. They just didn't know that they were okay. So they thought they were sick and they thought they had problems and they believed the problems because they were listening to their own bad advice about what was going on wrong with them. And they weren't looking at what was right. And they weren't creating goals because their number one goal was to not be sick, not have this problem, not have these things, not have the anxiety. And if your goal is to not have something and you're telling yourself all of that, you're just creating more of it. And so I started out, when I started working with these people, started going, okay, you're okay. You just don't know it. And I'm going to show you through our work together how you are okay. And then you'll come to know that you're okay. You just didn't know it. And so what I've realized throughout my time, throughout my years working with all of those people, is that their number one goal was to be okay. And they already had that and they didn't know it. So they didn't have very good goals. So as I moved into consulting and coaching, I started really hyper-focusing on this idea of goals and how important our goals are. And how our goals show up is what we want. Again, from our mission, from our vision, really kind of understanding what our life is supposed to look like. What our life is supposed to look like in every facet of our life. And then paint the picture. I've talked about a number of times, and I don't know if I've talked about it on these calls, but I talk about it a number of times with my clients and other talks I do about the idea of a puzzle always has a picture on the front of it. And you're supposed to be able to put the puzzle pieces together to make it look like the picture on the box. And for me, each puzzle piece represents a little piece of a goal that goes to the bigger mission of completing the puzzle to create the vision of your life the way you want it to be. And so for me, each little puzzle piece represents those goals. Without one of those goals, you can't complete the picture. And so for me, when we're really looking at how to stay focused in any circumstances, it's really to be paying hyper aware. I said that wrong. It's to be paying close attention, to be hyper aware of your goals and how you're moving towards them. Now, I think, like I said, about 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I wasn't so concerned about that. I was more concerned about getting people healthy and helping them to recognize that they were already healthy. And that's great. But the fact of the matter is I was going from a convincing place, try to convince people that they're okay. When I started getting rid of that model and I just kind of moved it to the side, say, you know what, that thing's derailing me. I'm going to focus on helping people really identify the kind of life that they want, the kind of business they want, the kind of clients they want to work with, the kind of fun they want to have, and then create goals around that. We're making the puzzle pieces as we go. And so thinking about your life, thinking about the direction you're going, especially as you get into give to get, especially as you start moving towards building the life that you want, whether it's a business, whether it's relationships, whether it's just life in general, building that vision, understanding what that puzzle is going to look like, and understanding that finishing that puzzle is a long journey, but each goal that you have, that you create for yourself, is a piece in that journey. Really starts to help you to start moving forward in the way that you want to, with a purpose, with a feeling of excitement, of a feeling of moving forward on that journey. And that's what I'm excited about. That's what I really love helping people do. Get rid of the idea if I'm sick or if I'm healthy or if I'm messed up in my mind, because we all are. I don't think there's anybody that's not. I know I am, but don't tell anybody. Anyway, when we really think about it, life is not about are we sick or healthy. It's about how much we're moving towards what we want, how much we are creating that fulfillment in our life. And for me, I focus on business because I believe that business creates the finances to fuel our life. And so I've really focused very intently on that. But once you get your business solid, well, once you get yourself solid, you get your business solid, and it all wraps into each piece of it. And so I could say I'm a life coach. I could say I'm a relationship coach. I could say I'm a business coach. Really, what I am is helping people to move forward towards the vision and mission with authority, with intention, with conviction, making the decisions to move forward. And for me, Boomerang Give to Get is one of those things that really help us move forward. I don't know what happened. Somebody just popped out of here. But helping us to move forward the way we want to, with the intention, staying focused. And focus is all about remaining true to our goals. It's all about really identifying where we're off track and how to get back on there. Now, for me, Boomerang Give to Get gives us a lot of tools to be able to really identify different ways to move forward. There's a lot of training and there's a lot of information in this community. There's a lot of good coaches. And so when we're thinking about how to move forward, start talking to the coaches. As you come in, as you start hearing all of these different ramblings of us crazy people who call ourselves coaches, really start thinking about what you want to do with your life, how you want to move forward, how you need help, who you need help from, who you want help from. We can help you put those plans together. We can help you put that life that you want together. And there's so many coaches in here that have really jumped in here because we all have a heart for giving. That's what it's all about. Give to Get is all about giving. Now, for me, the get part, I don't really even pay attention to it because we'll just receive as we give with love and service on our hearts. And that's what Morrow put together. And, you know, I've been friends with Morrow for a long time. And one of the things that I've always noticed about him is he puts others first. And this community is all about being able to help others step up and become what they want, have the life they want, move in the direction they want. And Morrow has done that so amazingly with Give to Get that when he asked me to be a part of it, I couldn't say no. I couldn't say no, because the reality is his goals, his vision, his mission align with mine, helping people have the life that they desire. And that's what we talk about with Generator Coaching. We help you generate the business, relationships, and life you desire. And Give to Get is a vehicle on that path to move towards what you're looking for. And so if you're wondering what you can do, to really improve your situation, to move towards your vision, to really understand your mission, to create the goals, move forward, reach out to the coaches. All of us have experience helping people move forward. That's what we want to help you guys do. That's what we are here for. We're here to create this community of like-minded individuals as we grow on our path towards our vision. And it's a great thing. It's a great thing. And I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited for the different people that are getting involved. The community is growing every day. 1, 2, 5 people, all kinds of different people coming in with one idea in mind, one vision, a life that we enjoy, a life that we're excited about. And that's what we're doing here. And so when you're thinking about, in wrapping up here, what you're thinking about staying focused in any circumstances, it really moves back to the emotion. It really moves back to really getting in touch with what you want, how you want it, when you want it, and identifying the emotions that are on your track, blocking you from moving forward the way you want to. When you can really have that introspective ability to identify what's going on and then reach out, empowered by asking for help, we can help you get where you want to go. So that's what I got for you today. I'm really happy that all of you jumped in and watched this craziness occur. And I can't wait to be here. I'll be here in a couple of weeks. I'll be showing up for our next adventure together. And I hope y'all have a great week. Jump in, share this program with other people. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Terry. Bye.
Bye.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Terry. Sorry you can't see me. My camera's not working.
No worries.
I scared my camera black.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.